Okay. So a while back, maybe 2 months and a half now, I did an interview with Phil of Lancet Fencing. So originally, I had reached out to him because his company had caught my interest. I'd been following it for a while on Instagram. Lancet Fencing is a really innovative, very cool grip and fencing manufacturing company. Um, fencing equipment manufacturing company, and they caught my eye because their aesthetics are so cool, and their whole design ethos. From what I got after discussing with Phil, which you should definitely go check out that interview if you haven't, is that they're taking elements of historical fencing and being like, okay, like what elements of these designs, why were they implemented, how do they influence the ergonomics and the mechanics of wielding a weapon, and how can we translate that to a really updated modern take, that is good for modern sport fencing. And so the main point of discussion in that video was his grips. And this, he was very generous, very kind enough. Thank you very much, Phil, to send me one of his models, the Saber Grip Guard Control, for free. So full disclosure, I received it for free. Didn't receive any monetary compensation for it, so I'll be very honest about my experience with it. But I am very grateful that he sent it to me at all. So let's go ahead and take a cursory look at this grip, and then I'll give you my thoughts about its performance and its features. So let's take a look. This, right, obviously, the first thing that's going to catch your attention is that it is a little girthier, a little more chunky than most grips. So this is a standard saber grip. Pretty normal, pretty boring. So we have this here. It has this large base right here for you to rest, these three fingers on right here. And then it tapers all the way up. And this is where you get its most striking feature and why it's called the guard control. So you can see these little flares, not little at all actually, and a pocket there. So that's where your thumb is meant to rest, in that little pocket right there. And these flares on the side, you're meant to slide your thumb into that pocket, and then you tweak and press on those flares, and it very responsively turns the whole guard and the whole blade in that direction, right? So if I push here, boom, I'm in 4. If I push here, now I'm in 3. So that is the overall view or overview of the grip. So what did I think about it? So first of all, my amount of time spent with it is pretty significant. I've been using it at almost every practice over the last month and a half or so. I've taken it to all those practices, 2 local tournaments, and then most recently I fenced the Air Force ROC with it as well. So I think I'm pretty well qualified now to give my thoughts on it. The first, my first initial impression of it, outside of the aesthetic being really rad, is that it is a little heavier than the average grip, and that's I let a lot of people at the club, shout out FAD, mess around with it, for a bout or two, and that was kind of the first thing that they remarked upon. It's like, oh, there's a little weightier than maybe what I'm used to, and when it sits in the hand, because of that big bottom flare right there, it kind of rocks your hand and leans the blade forward a little bit more than most people might be used to. For me, I really prefer my blades to be canted a fair bit forward, so it actually felt really good to me, but your mileage may vary. When I first found out that people canted their blades in like my first year of fencing, I was like, oh, whoa, I can't wait to count my blades. So I put it in the vise, and I was like, fucking put like a damn near a 90-degree bend on it, And then, I showed it to my coach, and he's like, oh, we got Count Dooku over here. So this reminds me a little bit of that. Obviously, much more scaled back. But this is kind of the feeling that I was trying to accomplish back then. So this actually felt really good to me. And then as far as the gas pedals, right, the main feature goes, they're absolutely phenomenal. So they work exactly as intended. And really what I was surprised with is they're a lot of fun on point and line stuff, right? Because you have your arm fully extended like this sideways, and then you're free to kind of manipulate the blade and do all sorts of fancy little disengages to preem or whatever you prefer there. So that was a lot of fun too. So the only like real downside that I found with it was obviously the weight, and then this bottom bit, right, this flare, it does feel nice, but occasionally it can feel a bit awkward as you extend forward to cut, and it makes me wonder if maybe and this goes hand in hand with the weight, right, if maybe we can't trim off a few centimeters of this and just scale it back just a little bit, cut down on the weight, and then make it a little bit more in line with the profile of a standard guard. But I mean, it looks great. You know, I really like that it's like a very dominant, like, you know, chunky looking grip. Now we have to make a comparison, right? So the obvious comparison that a lot of you may be thinking of right now is, hey, this design looks an awful lot like the Harut Saber Grip. They're both ergonomic grips. They both have the same kind of contour to taper design. So let's put the guard control down real quick and look at the Harut. Just want to make a correction to the statement I made in the original video that the Lancet grip was heavier than the Harut Cobra grip, and it's actually 1 gram lighter when compared on a scale. So the Lancet grip clocks in at 39 grams and the Cobra grip is 40. So just want to make that quick correction, and apologies for any misinformation. And it is a bit thinner as well. What I don't particularly like is this pad right here. So it's cool that it gives you some texture there, a little bit more grip and control, but it actually, you can see it gets quite thin at this point, and I was never, you know, I've never been able to parse why that is, because to me it's like when your thumb is one of the main manipulators of your saber, of your blade, any fencing blade, right? Every fencing coach will tell you it's the index and the thumb, two finger, and then these are you use these to rocket the blade forward as you make a cut, parry, whatever. And thinner than the guard control. Which one do I like better? For now, I would have to say if I only picked one, I would do the guard control, and here's why. The guard control is not going to be for everyone because of its weight, but I don't consider myself to be of a high enough skill level where the weight of my grip is going to be affecting the outcome of the bout in any significant way. So while I don't think this is a grip that I would recommend to everyone, I will say this. I think Phil has inadvertently created a grip that is really, really perfect for the intermediate to beginner fencer, which unfortunately after 6 years, I still consider myself to be Mr. D23. And I'll tell you why. So the weight. It's a habit of a lot of, like I said, more intermediate fencers to beginner fencers. You're on a march, sprinting down the strip real fast, throwing out a bunch of feints left and right, boom, right? Because of the weight and honestly because of the curvature of it, the dramatic curvature, you can't really get away with that, and you shouldn't. So there's just not enough time to go boom, and not get counterattacked or get pulled short or anything like that, right? So what it actually surprisingly made me do is, be very intentional and deliberate about the timing of my feints and how many I could squeeze in within a certain tempo of attack. And the same kind of theme or principle applies on the defensive side of things, right? If I'm going back, really bad habit of panic parrying, right? Someone throws out a bunch of feints like I just said, I follow every goddamn one, boom, and then get hit in the flank or get hit in the chest, belly cut, whatever. And so with this one, you know, after I learned that, oh man, I really cannot get away with it. I have no time to go 4, come all the way back to 3 with this grip. Not that I could with other grips either, but it's like, you know, this one, it really felt quite dramatic and tangible. Like, oh, I really don't have time to flounder back and forth between guessing parries. So it really made me sit and be patient. And then when I did decide, okay, oh, he's cutting to 4, I have to parry 4. You use the gas pedals, boom, super responsive, right? And just, bah, now I'm at 4. And the reason I think these gas pedals work so well is because they are designed, like I said earlier, with the core mechanical ethos of what it means to manipulate or to hold a saber. Like I said, it's all in the fingers, and specifically in the index and the thumb. And what is the main focal point of this grip? The thumb and your index finger. And you know, it has this chunky bit, so you can really rest the rest of your fingers on. But the flares, the gas pedals, it makes you very, very much so focus on rolling, you know, the blade between these two to great effect. It really makes you sink your teeth into the mechanics of holding the saber, which is something that I think can kind of get lost in the shuffle between, you know, thinking about the middle game, the box, the tactical actions, your footwork, and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what I think about it. Just very briefly going over the wear and tear of it. Like I said, I've been using it for about a month and a half, practice, tournaments, you know, big tournament ROC. And normally I would, you know, especially on a regular grip, I would have worn this rubber bit clean down to the plastic. And even on the Harroot Cobra, you know, it's starting to peel and kind of get a little gross in some bits. Granted, I've been using it for the better part of 3 to 4 months, so we'll see what happens with the guard control. But I see absolutely no signs of wear on it. It looks damn near brand new, and I know for a fact that it's taken, you know, like a weird whip over a couple times. So if weight is the absolute number one most important thing to you, maybe, I don't know, you know, it'd be hard to wholeheartedly recommend the grip in that case. But if you're looking for a grip that is going to make you a better fencer, you know, that is going to make you think about the fundamentals of holding the grip and really be deliberate about your actions, and you're just looking to do some fun point and line bullshit, it's a lot of fun. I really love the gas pedals on there. I don't know why that's not a more standard feature. It feels very intuitive. And if I had to make a recommendation to Phil, if you watch this, I would say maybe consider just trimming this protrusion down just a tad. It's really not that big of a deal, but I think it would go a long way towards making it seem a little bit more sleek, a little bit more modern, and most importantly, cutting down on the weight just a little bit, and then maybe making it flush with the hilt, specifically just for design aesthetics. But I really love this guard grip, and I'm definitely going to be using it for a while. Love these gas pedals. So those are my thoughts on it, and that's all I have for you guys. See you later.